This guide is not for the PoE grindlord. This guide is for idiots. Like me. Bannerman is a tactician that is played as a support to help your teammates do more damage. The best thing about this build is that it is so easy to get online. You only need two main things. First off, ascendancy point, whoever pays best, which allows you to place multiple banners at a time, as well as the unique chest Fallen Formation, which makes it so that anytime you place a banner, it's always at max valor. Who would have guessed that a class based around banners would use a chest about banners and an ascendancy tree about banners, am I right? With these two things together, you can place your banners at any point without needing to build valor and place them all at once. The biggest benefit to Bannerman is how easy it is to get online. Initial gear can be extremely cheap, especially because you don't need to build resistances that high because of this notable. But that only lasts while you're inside of the banner or yourself. It doesn't work any other time, I hear you say. That's why we need this other notable. Believe it or not, Bannerman needs Bannerman. With Bannerman allocated, you can now leave the aura and still keep the buffs for up to 4 seconds before you having to place down another banner. And this is important for mapping in particular because you're always going to be, obviously, moving. And that's basically the basics. Basically basics. So, how are we now going about buffing our teammates? Is it just the banners? The thing about Bannerman is not only is it easy to get online, but there is a ton of diversity in the builds from this point on. So let me just tell you what I'm doing personally. The first two and biggest things that we're trying to scale as high as possible is aura and presence. And the reason that we're doing that is because we want to be able to cover as much screen as possible so our teammates can run around as much as possible while still receiving our buffs. There are quite a few items that involve presence. One of the biggest ones being Merit of Service. And what Merit of Service does is give your allies your block chance, meaning if you're block capped, they're block capped. And you can scale this obviously on your skill tree with all sorts of points or with jewels and even the Anvil unique item. It reduces your move speed, which is cringe, but it's an option. Something I forgot to mention is that these banners, one of them gives you a whole lot of move speed, and with certain points put in, you're basically moving faster than the rows that everyone's running around on, so we do not like reducing our move speed. Another big section of your build that revolves around presence is your helmet. Initially, I was wearing the Leer cast since I wasn't attacking anyways and it had the most straightforward benefit to my teammate. You can also get it for very cheap, but we were dying a lot and my duo was using gas arrow and he had to stand on top of the enemies because a radiant grief was needed to cause his gas arrow to explode. After dying a lot, he came up with this galaxy brain play. Why don't I, Bannerman, wear the helmet? The difference in our death counter changed drastically instantly. Now he can start as far away as he needs while I burn everything for free. This also frees up a helmet slot for him so he could get more defenses or whatever it was that he wanted in that section. It's worth mentioning that there's other helmets that would also help your teammates if you wore it. For example, Sandstorm Visage, which would apply critical weakness to enemies within your area while they're intimidated as well. Or Darkest Tower, which would make it so that all the enemies in your presence are low life. The next important item that almost every Bannerman wants to have on his character is a Scepter. Bannerman is using Scepters to give buffs for free, like flat attack damage and bonus damage. What you want really depends on who you're supporting. I'm currently supporting an idiot gas arrow guy, so I wanted attack, accuracy, crit bonus, as well as more presence so he could stay in my AoE. Side note, I think there might be a max range on presence radiance, but I'm not entirely sure. I spent a stupid amount of time in the hideout changing items and comparing the differences between the aura, which by the way you can see if you hover over presence on an item to see what your aura range is. But I could never really figure it out. It also doesn't really help that at the time of recording this, Path of Building wasn't really available yet. So if this information has already been confirmed or denied, by all means let me know in the comments below. Back to the scepters. Most of the scepters provide a free aura, and everyone likes free. The shrine ones are not that effective. They only provide you with a resistance type aura, and the auras are not nearly as strong as they were in PoE 1, where they gave max res. I would personally recommend going for a stoic scepter if you want more energy shield, or malice scepter for crit vulnerability, and that's basically just a free curse essentially. Speaking of curses, I figured that using just a banner and having a shield wasn't enough assistance for my teammate, so I figured I should just weaken the opponents too. With that thought, and a shit ton of extra spirit left over, I traveled up the passive tree to get some curse-related nodes at the north side of the tree. These nodes, in combination with generosity and a dowager's damning as a ring, mean that I'm not only giving a critical weakness or a curse to the enemies, but I'm also providing enfeeble and temp chains to the enemies as well. Let me just give you an example of what I mean. See, these mobs are starting to be burned by our helmet Radiant Grief. And as they get closer, you can see that they get temporal chains and enfeeble on them, weakening them even more and slowing them down. If you hover over them, you can also see on the far right that 6% is malice, the critical weakness that we're applying on them as well. So as you can see, they're very far away from us and still being affected by us. It is approximately the same distance as our banners. VTuber jump scare. Hey, so after editing the first half of the video over the weekend and coming back to finish it today, I realized something. I only really talked about curses and like 2 or 3 items that I'm using on the build. But what about like leveling or the skill tree? What ores am I running? Well, for leveling, honestly, you just have to go ballista, artillery ballista. There's a good leveling guide here by Call Torak, and the link will also be in the description. I'd highly recommend following that. And also, you just follow that until you get up to about 4 ascendancy points so that you can grab whoever pays most. And then also, when you have enough currency to get the chest armor, which honestly is only like 1 or 2 exalts. A perfect one might cost you a few more, but that's about it. I'd also only switch over if you actually have a teammate to consistently play with too, of course. As for the auras and the skill tree, honestly, they don't really matter. As long as you have the core, everything really depends on your teammate and what you want to do, which can both be a good thing and a bad thing for this build. Here, let me show you what I mean. If you're ever trying to figure out what to do on your build, especially if you're doing something on your own, using PoE Ninja can help out a lot. Here I have tacticians that are wearing our body armor and have whoever pays best filtered. So it's basically everyone that's going to be doing something similar to us. So let's just check out a few of these top builds. Keep in mind, as you can see in the bottom right, this was recorded back in April, 1 week into the current season. All right, let's see what we got here. So this first guy has the deepest tower. Nothing else here looks too different from what we're running. He's got also a Dowager's Damning. Oh, this next guy has a 2-hander and a scepter. So using Giant's Blood in combination with another ascendancy that we don't have, Watch How I Do It, he is basically giving that 2-handed weapon damage to his teammate. Oh, here's someone else that's doing something completely different. He's got a spear and a scepter. So once again, no merit of service. We got Fixation of Yix is a fairly common item. But if we go down here, he's Eternal Youth and Chaos Inoculation. The point is, there's all sorts of ways that you can go to support your teammates, and unlike in like PoE 1, there's not really a wrong answer in this game. There might be better answers, but there's not really a wrong answer. And what you really go completely depends on your teammates. For example, the only reason I'm wearing Radiant Grief is because I'm supporting a gas arrow guy, and since my presence is scaled, you can burn a lot more people in a wider range than what he would if he would wear it himself. So talk to your teammate. Discuss it. So in short, Bannerman is very cheap, easy to get online, and can support almost any build. It is a jack-of-all-trades support, but not really a master of any. The cons of the build is that you have to place a banner every 5 or so seconds to keep banner uptime. And even with how tanky you are, you can still get one shot. In particular, the ritual ghosts can one shot you for some reason. I have no idea why those things are so strong. But that's about it. This is our first video, our first guide. So please let me know what you think. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was there anything I missed? Should I have done anything differently? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.